Hi everyone, this is Chantay. I'm here with my analysis. It's normally daily, but you guys know the situation. If you don't follow me, um, I am enrolled back in school, not full time but part time. But my one class is taking up a lot of my time because I already have a project and it's due on Wednesday, so I've been focusing on that, and I'm going to be focused on that parts of the weekend and for the rest of this weekend and to next week. So I am here with my daily spiel. Well, keep saying it's not. Normally it is my daily spiel, but it's not. So, but I have been a little bit live on my other podcast that I did. I just not on my Instagram podcast, but now I'm back. I probably won't be back in really full effect of doing things probably till like Wednesday when things kind of simmer just a little bit, but I'm here, right? I'm here. Today, Friday, September 11, 2020, as you know, 19 years ago, for those in this country, we were attacked by by four men from, I believe, if not Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, who came to Boston to hijack planes that were going different places and flew two planes here in our Twin Towers downtown in New York, one in Pennsylvania, I think that was the last one, and then one in the Pentagon. So this day, it's still 19 years later, as a 30-something-year-old woman, I still remember it like it was yesterday. If you read my post on Facebook or read my post on Instagram, you see I have a long post of how that day affected my family. Even though nobody got hurt, I had a cousin that worked in there who had to change her whole career. I think my mom, we knew a person that died in there. And then my mom's best friend used to work in there, who it took many years for her to find a job later on. So this thing is really, really serious. How you doing, Joseph? I'm sorry I'm going on a little rant, but 9/11 really, I still remember it. I was a 15-year-old kid. I was in 10th grade when I found out that happened. No, I thought it was a whole entire lie. And then I see the cops say like, oh no, this is real. Train shut down. Saw the images of the planes once I got home, flying in the buildings. It was just like, and I was just in those buildings like 3 months prior to September 11th. So, pants falling off me, losing weight. So, yeah. But I'm going to get into COVID. COVID is also another serious issue that we're dealing with. September 11th, we lost about almost 3,000 people here in I think just 3,000 people here in New York, 3,000 people in the whole. The pandemic, we almost lost nearly 200,000 Americans within 6 months. Or 8 months. I should say 8 months. So I'm going to read these numbers to you. I'm going to read the global numbers, then state numbers. So globally, we are at 28,313,733, and the death toll is at 912,936, and that's on the global stage. So it's 28.3 million in this country. So 28,313,733 cases in 187 countries, because I guess it was 188 countries, but now it's 187. And then the death toll is over 900, so it's 912,936. So we're almost at the millionth mark of the death, and I think we're gradually getting there in the world. In the U.S., we account for, like I said, a fifth of those cases. So we're at 6,442,557 in the United States, the richest nation on the globe, and we got the highest cases. We're leading with the highest cases. Not a good sign. Almost at 6.5. And the death toll here is 192,936, according to the Johns Hopkins website. You can go on there for yourself. It's there. I have a neighbor that worked in the Twin Towers and had post-PTSD. Yeah, I did too. That was my mom's best friend, because my mom's best friend had PTSD for like forever. She just started working about, I think, 10 years ago. About 10 years ago. Because she was babysitting And I guess the babysitting was a little bit too much for her because it took her 5 years to even do any kind of work because of the attacks. That's how bad it was. So I feel your neighbor. In these other countries with these high COVID cases, India is now the second country leading with the highest cases at 4.4,562,414, followed by Brazil at 4,238,446. Russia has 1,048,257. We have Peru at 710,067. Yeah, Colombia 694,664,000. Mexico 652,364. South Africa 646,398. And we have Spain at 566,326. So those are the countries with the highest cases besides the U.S. Of course, the U.S., we're leading with the most cases. We have Dominican Republic in the Latin countries. Dominican Republic is at 102,332. Panama is at 100,330. Guatemala is at 81,009. Nigeria is at 56,017. Ghana is at 45,388, and Senegal is at 14,193. And of course, in the West Indies, you have Haiti at 8,457, Jamaica at 3,511. We have Trinidad and Tobago 2,825, Bahamas 2,814. We have Guyana at 1,763. We have Belize at 1,399. We have Barbados at 180 cases. Antigua at 95 cases. St. Vincent at 62 cases. St. Lucia at 27 cases. Grenada at 24. Dominica now has 24. And St. Kitts still, with all these months, remain at 17. They must have their country closed and closed off to Americans. And honestly, I don't blame them. Not one bit. Now, in the States, California has been surpassed New York for like about 3 months. So California has 756,344. And keep in mind, they're dealing with wildfires. And the wildfires in California, well, out west, is pretty serious, especially like the Northwest, like California, Oregon, and I think Washington State. I'm not quite as sure. Texas has 683,220. Florida has 658,220. New York has 447,498. Georgia, 274,242. Illinois, 260,926. Arizona, 207,525. New Jersey has 197,677. North Carolina has 182,934, and Tennessee rounds up that top 10 with 167,263. So we have that in COVID. The unemployment numbers are still at 8% overall, but Black unemployment is at 13% according to the Bloomberg News. Followed with the Latinx. Well, the Latin community unemployment rate at 10.5%. And then same with the Asian community, the 10%. And then white unemployment is like at 8% or something like that. So it's disproportionately still bad. And you still have over 30 million Americans still out of work and 40 million Americans about to be evicted from their house and counting. And the situation is not going to get better. Dr. Fauci was on Andrea Mitchell Reports, and pretty much he said we got to bunker down for the fall. So this notion that kids going back to school and this administration pressuring states to reopen their schools or they will not give them the funding, they can't do that. That's one. And second, having these kids go to school is a risk to their health. And most of these kids live in multi-generational homes. So when these kids go to school and they bring back a cold, They not only they get themselves sick, but they get themselves sick, but they get their mother sick and their grandmother sick. So with this COVID situation, and the kids love to play, love to hug, and do never, they having contact sport, right? Touching each other. They're going home to their mother, their grandmother, or their great-grandmother, for some of them. They cough, they get sick. Their parents stay home, they get sick. Then grandma gets sick. Then great-grandma or great-grandpa gets sick. Who to know how the immune system is? Say great-grandmother or grandmother, sometimes mommy, get really sick and get on the ventilator and possibly die. Or have long-lasting effects from COVID. Just because you recover from COVID, you still have the effects of asthma, have other respiratory breathing problems, maybe be on dialysis from it, or just constantly just have those symptoms for quite some time in and out of your body. That's why they urge you to wear a mask and keep your distance and lower the amount of crowds that you are around, because this virus is very tricky and it changes each and every day. So with this administration trying to rush back to normal with no plan, with no national coordinated plan, as I keep saying every day, it's putting the lives of Americans at risk. So what this administration is doing is criminally negligent, if that is a term. Our children is being used as guinea pigs for this administration to get brownie points. So I would love for people to pay attention to what the hell is going on. Tell your friends and whatever. They don't have to watch me necessarily. I mean, I would like them to watch me. But to stay informed, even if you watch 10 minutes of the news per day, any news you watching that is honest about COVID, I have to put that out there. And it's so sad in 2020 because there's a lot of news stations that lie about the severity of COVID. To stay informed of how this can affect your family, your loved ones, your finances, the environment, and you, right? You as the American person who wants the truth. Because the truth has been conflated and distorted so many times within the last couple of years. I thought I would never have seen this in my lifetime. This is what we're dealing with, unfortunately. And this is why I'm urging people on a serious tip. Educate yourself of the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ticket by going to joebiden.com. He has a litany and serious amount of policies, both him and Kamala. Not just for the Black community, not just for the AAPI community, not for the Latinx community, but to build back this country better. Not economically, but public health with, our safety, public safety, our criminal justice reform, our infrastructure, because the infrastructure is terrible. The healthcare is on the verge of being cut from us. The ACA, which is the Affordable Care Act, is in court right now. This is what we're dealing with. I know I'm derailing off my topic because I write my topics here, but this is serious business. We have to vote. It's no sitting out the elections. And it's not just voting for the presidency. We got to vote down ballot from the Senate to the congressional seats to the state representative seats to the courts. Because right now, the Republicans have 202 confirmed judges, conservative judges that could probably shape the stuff of this country for the next 50, 60 years. Not good. Especially for us young millennials and even some of the Gen Z kids that's going to have families and going to have kids. So we got to think about the future of our kids and our kids' kids. I hope you guys learned something. So you learned something from this. So that's my mini sermonette, I guess you want to say. But in Trump's revelation, I'm pretty sure you guys heard of what he said about COVID-19. And I think I wrote some of it down. According to the NBC News, this is what he said to Bob Woodward from the Washington Post. Trump's phone call with him, he said, I wanted to play it down. I still like playing it down because I don't want to create panic. This is what he said back on March 19th of this year. In the height of the pandemic, where half of the country was on lockdown, right? And then he says to Bob, now it's turning out it's not just old people, Bob, but just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just old and older, young people too. Plenty of young people. And then he says, just breathe the air and that's how it's passed. So he knows how it's passed. And then what got me is this is some deadly stuff. Of course, Biden called them, despicable, deplorable comments. So here's my take on this. So I know y'all want to hear this. Donald Trump knew. He knew the severity of this situation, knew the severity on how this virus is passed. No president, and I'm using that frankly, is not going to know a national security threat, and that includes a global pandemic. Well, let's rephrase that. No president in the history of this country will ignore the intelligence or not being briefed on this. No president will ignore a briefing like this unless you're stupid. Donald Trump was briefed. He knew about this situation and he refused to do anything about combating COVID. So once again, I'm going to say this frankly. Each president is briefed on national security threats, including a global pandemic. Donald Trump knew, according to this phone call. What did he do? He played it down, like he said. He did nothing. We're 6 months into him declaring this pandemic a national emergency. Keep in mind, he is a national emergency. And what does he do? He did nothing. He kept holding rallies, no mask, and still wearing no mask and still holding rallies with no mask and having people sign waiver forms saying, if you don't wear your mask, it's on you. And these people are stupid to fall for it. So that's who is the resident at 1600 Black Lives Matter Avenue. So folks who are still supporting him, and this is no shade to you, you are deplorable. You are a racist. You are a bigot. You are a jackass idiot, as my mom always say. As my father says it, the New York way, you a dumb motherfucker. And a racist. You're being conned, which you probably like to be conned. And you possibly might get sick from COVID, saying like COVID is over. It's not over. We're still in our first wave, and the second wave is coming. Why I keep saying that? Because Dr. Fauci just confirmed it, because we need to bunker down. Because cold and flu season is coming. And trust me, it's not the best season. I hate cold and flu season. I have a lot of my NyQuil. I think I'm going to get some vapor rub. And I got my cough drops and my tea. And I'm going to pick up some more honey from the store. Because shit is real. But for those Trump supporters who are supporting him, as I said, you are a deplorable ass, jackass, idiot motherfucker. And that's how I have it. And more of his enabling. You have Mitch McConnell, according to the New York Times, who has wants to line up 53 of his Republicans to back a scaled-back $500 billion relief plan. So my thing to Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, the Republican from Kentucky, is why you not putting up the HEROES bill on the floor, the HEROES Act. So for those who don't know what the HEROES Act is, you can look it up online for yourself. It was passed by the House Democrats nearly 4 months ago as of Tuesday. The HEROES Act consists of student loan forgiveness, a second round of stimulus checks, extending the unemployment rate to unemployment checks to $600 unemployment checks to 2021. Rent and debt relief, food assistance, more money in contract tracing, more money in COVID testing, which physicians who have wrote an op-ed and said that this is the most feasible bill to keep the country going. And what does Mitch McConnell calls it? A liberal wish list. It will never have a chance on the Senate floor. But you want to pass some skim $500 billion bill, which should have passed a $3 trillion bill like the HEROES Act. And because of Mitch McConnell is the reason why the $600 unemployment is gone from the CARES Act. 40 million Americans are getting evicted, sleeping on the street, food insecurity. This is why I'm saying voting matters. And I said not just only the presidency, but the two legislative houses, the two legislative branches. The legislative branch, which is the House of Representatives, which they are up for re-election every 2 years, and the Senate, which they're up for re-election every 6 years. Mitch McConnell is up in 2020. People in Kentucky really need to kick that man's ass out of the Senate. He does not serve you purpose. Mitch McConnell is the devil. And I don't say that about everybody, but he is. Because he calls himself the Grim Reaper of the Senate. Because he is the damn Grim Reaper. So those folks in Kentucky, if you want a new senator, I know y'all wanted Charles Booker, and I think Charles Booker was great. But now Amy McGrath got to work hard for your votes. And to the voters there, get Mitch McConnell's ass out before he destroyed democracy further than he's doing with Donald Trump. And that includes the people of South Carolina. Get Lindsey Graham ass out of there and put Jamie Harrison behind there, because he's really talking to the issues that's affecting South Carolina. And half of those issues I know because my aunts live in South Carolina. So that's that. But on the Biden and Harris ticket, the way they were looking this week, very presidential. And I'm calling them my president and my vice president for right now. Even though I still respect Joe Biden as the VP, because to me, he's a way much better VP than his predecessor. His predecessor sucks. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. Vote, 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 vote. Like, voting it's real. And if you guys don't vote, if you guys decide to sit home saying this election's not for me, and I'm talking to the people saying like this election is not for me, remember that you're going to be in your house for another 4 years if this man is in office. Remember that the post office will be destroyed completely. Remember that you may not ever get your medicine in the mail or even pick it up. Or we will be on food bank lines for like the next forever with this man here, and we won't be respected as the free nation of the world or the greatest nation of the world. So think about that. But until then, you guys have a great weekend, and I possibly will pop up with some coronavirus numbers. But until then, have a good night, and thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and tell your friends. Thank you. Have a good night.